Welcome to Let's Bet, the show for folks who love betting on sports but hate losing money. I'll show you how to increase your sports betting bankroll by gaining confidence so that ultimately you can live the lifestyle that you deserve. I'm your host, Scott Pritchard, pro bettor, 31 years, founder of Pritchard'sPicks.com. You can find me each and every weekend in the Las Vegas Review-Journal. Last year, I took third place in the Circa Invitational. This year, moving up slowly but steadily. Second place to last week's guest, or actually a couple of weeks ago, Chris Piper. What I can do, he can do better. We're broadcasting live and worldwide from beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada, Sin City, each and every Friday from 1 to 1:30 on demand on Pritchard'sPicks.com and on your favorite podcast and video distribution platforms. To reach out to us, I would suggest that you email us at letsbet@Pritchard'sPicks.com. That's letsbet@Pritchard'sPicks.com. Backed by popular demand, discount code. I'm going to be sharing that discount code in a few short minutes to get 20% off all picks, all packages. Stay tuned for that. But first things first, my guest, five-star, rock star, superstar, living legend, my friend, celebrity TV host, VSiN, VSiN, spelled just the way it sounds, Vegas Sports Information Network, Matt Youmans. Matt, welcome to the show.
Scotty P, great to be here today, and let's bet this weekend, huh?
I love it. Too much is not enough, and we're going to be sharing our best bets, 1 to 3 best bets, college and pro football, sides, totals, money lines. It's a smorgasbord of options, and we like choices. So how's life been treating you, my friend?
It's pretty good. It's been busy, obviously, during football season. The customary 40-hour weeks, more like 60, 70-hour weeks. And now we've got basketball season starting, too. And I know you're deep into NBA, and I'm into college basketball. And not enough hours in the day, not many hours to sleep. I think you're the one who always says success never sleeps. And, this is the time of the year where it's just, like I said, not enough hours in the day, not enough time to get everything done. But you have to – time management is like money management is in sports betting. Time management's key to a successful lifestyle, right?
A few weeks ago, it's a good point. It's a good reminder. I had Brad Powers on the show, and I asked him about 1 to 3 skill sets that you must perfect to be a consistent, duplicatable, winning player. He said time management, money management, and ego management. I thought that was an interesting answer, but to your point with time management, money management, from August, September until the Super Bowl, you've got college and pro football, college and pro basketball, you've got hockey, you've got baseball, you've got the pennant races. I mean, it's nonstop. We've signed up for this. We chose to proactively eat this frog. But one of the things I do during the off season is travel. I like going to Thailand to escape, chill, relax, decompress. But I like asking people like you, hard chargers, successful 60, 70, 80-hour work weeks, what do you do to chill?
I like to get out in the sun, to be honest. I like to swim every day, hit the pool, play golf, go to the beach, whether it's San Diego or Hawaii. A lot of times hit the horse track in Del Mar, hit the beach in San Diego, go to Maui, play golf, hit the beach, things like that. Traveling's always good. Those months in the summer. I know a lot of people like to say, can't wait till football season gets here in the middle of the summer. I say enjoy the summer. You got to, like you said, you got to relax and take it easy, give your mind a break a little bit of it. Even though we're betting some baseball throughout the summer and typically the NBA playoffs, you cut way back, you give your mind a little bit of a break. And those months of, late April, May, June, July, even though we're getting into football preview research at that point, those are the months you have to enjoy and take it easy because there's really no time to take a break when you're talking about late August, really for me through March Madness and the beginning of April.
You and I go back quite a ways. I remember back in the day when you were with ESPN Radio, I would come in and do your show occasionally, and now you're doing your thing with VSiN, the Sports Betting Information Network right here in Las Vegas, based out of the Circa. What do you like best about hosting?
Well, you can control the show and the flow of the show. And one thing, I've always felt like you have to, as a host of a show, you can't get too far off track, and you have to play the hits. The relevant topics, you have to be entertaining and informative, and it's got to be a mix of the two, right? You can't be strictly information and numbers or you're going to bore people to death. You have to mix in humor, some jokes, things like that, which you do a good job of as well. And I think that's why I like. Plus, I can control who the guests are on my show for the most part, right? If you're just a co-host and you have a producer who's controlling who the guests are, to me, that's a little bit dangerous, especially in the sports betting industry, because one thing I've tried to do over, 24 years here in Vegas, starting at the Las Vegas Review-Journal, then ESPN Radio, then VSiN, and everything in between, is that you have to protect your credibility and your integrity. Be careful, who you associate with. And, hey, there are plenty of high-quality people in this industry. There are some who aren't. So you have to be careful about not associating with those. And I've never wanted to get too much into the tout part of it, where you're trying to sell, the hard sell. I'm good friends with Jim Feist, who made millions with the hard sell, as a tout, probably the most famous tout ever, wouldn't you say?
Him and/or Wayne Root.
Yeah. You got to balance the two, and I understand the pick selling side of the whole business, obviously, and I'm friends with many of those guys, and I don't have anything against it, but I just try to more or less let them do their thing and host the show. And at VSiN, one thing we do is we peddle picks, and when we started that network, Brian Musburger said, we're not going to say we're giving out picks or best bets. We're not going to sell picks. I said, look, if we don't pitch best bets from our host, from our guest, everyone we bring on, nobody's going to pay attention to this network. You cannot make a business model work in the sports betting industry and media unless you're selling picks in some form or fashion, whether it's subscriptions or your play of the month, play of the week, your best bets of the weekend, whatever. But you also, at the same time, you have to do it with class, and you have to protect your credibility and integrity.
I like that. That's very well said, because I've noticed that when I try to share or teach, train, and explain, Matt, what I've learned in 3+ decades of doing this at the highest level, at the end of the day, most people just want to know, yeah. Hey, who do you like today?
Right. Oh yeah.
They just want a winner for today. We're going to get to your best bets, sides, totals, money lines, whatever it might be, college and pro football for this coming weekend. It might be a World Series pick. I don't know. I trust that you know, but we'll get to that in a few short minutes. I will remind our viewers that, again, the coupon code, I can't wait. I know you can't wait. I'm going to go ahead and share that with you right here, right now. The coupon code to get 20% off all picks, all packages, including the recurring picks that you might sign up for, whether it's weekly, monthly, seasonally, and or annually. The discount code, Morant, M-O-R-A-N-T. That's right, as in Ja Morant. Matt and I, we were just talking off air before we went on, talking about what I see as a surprise team, Matt sees as a real sleeper team. But I'm telling you, this team, the Memphis Grizzlies, they 3 years ago won 56 games. 2 years ago, they won 51 games. Last year, they won 28 games because they were decimated with injuries, and Ja Morant, suspended for 25 games, came back, messed up his shoulder. He's back. He's pissed. He's not happy. The team's not happy. They have something to prove. They're starting 5, not 1, but 2 Defensive Player of the Year players. Desmond Bain back, Ja Morant back. They also added a 7'4" stud horse by the name of Edey from the University of Purdue at 7'4". So you've got 2 rim protectors in the half-court set, and the guy was a man amongst boys. I bet him at 5-1 plus to win Rookie of the Year. Didn't play well first game, high altitude, thin air against the Utah Jazz. You can stop the music, but you cannot stop the Jazz. But Memphis, they did. They beat them by 2 as a 2.5-point favorite. Memphis, tough game tonight on the road against Houston as a 3.5-point dog. Jaren Jackson III out. Injury, hamstring. He'll be back in a few days. Luke Kennard, sharpshooter off the bench. He's out. But this team, solid. So your discount code, Morant. You can go ahead. I'm a numbers guy, value guy. I bet numbers and value way more than I bet teams. I bet them at 20-1 to win the conference, and I love OKC. Spelled just the way it sounds. They are the real deal. Shea Alexander probably will be in the top 3 once again, if not the front runner for MVP. But do you really want to take them at plus 250, or do you want the Grizzlies at 20-1? 2 days ago when I bet it, it's already been bet down 12 to 1, 11 to 1, 10 to 1. It's going to continue to plummet. Back to football and my guest, Matt Youmans. It's your baby to rock. You have a few babies to rock. The Circa Invitational, which I love, love, love. I remember back in 2013, you and Kelly in Vegas, and you were instrumental with the Tony Miller Golden Nugget Invitational, where it was Paul Stone took first, who's been on this show. Love Paul from Texas, pro bettor. I took second. Again, what I can do, Paul can do better. And Paul was one of the contestants from a year ago. This is the third year you've had the Circa Invitational, from 16 contestants to now 25. But I know you have a myriad of people that want to be in the Circa Invitational. How many people solicit you on an annual basis, if you don't mind me asking, number one? And number two, what is the criteria that you look for in having people in the Circa Friday Night Invitational?
Yeah, first of all, that contest is based off the Stardust Invitational. I'm sure you remember.
Yeah, I do.
In the mid-'90s through the early 2000s, when I first got to town in August 2000, I go over every Friday night to the Stardust. 2 handicappers go head-to-head, 7 best bets. And it was cool. At that point, it's kind of a gathering for everybody in the sports betting community to come out and hang out on Friday nights. But I say a lot of times you would leave there Friday nights wanting more. You might not like one of the handicappers. You might not like some of the plays. You got a sheet there with 14 plays on it. You know what you get with the Circa Friday Football Invitational right now? 175 plays from respected handicappers on a Friday night, right? 25 handicappers, 7 best bets. And that's what you said is exactly right. People, you talk to them for 5 minutes, and at the end they're going to say, what do you like this weekend? What are your best bets?
Yeah. Never mind that. Who do you like?
Right. Want to see 175 best bets? Follow the Circa Friday Football Invitational. You don't have to follow the plays if you don't like them. Follow or fade the handicappers, whatever you want to do. But we're trying to put a respected field together, and it's kind of a mix of professional handicappers, guys who I know bet a lot of money, who are also pro bettors. You don't have to bet a lot of money though to be in the contest. If I think you're a sharp handicapper, you can be in the contest. Media personalities. Hey, we've got Brett McMurphy from the Action Network, who's got over 300,000 Twitter followers, right? Kelly Stewart, Kelly in Vegas on Twitter. She's got a couple 100,000 Twitter followers. Also, you want to bring in people who are going to bring more eyeballs to the contest. Scott Pritchard's got 1 million followers on TikTok, right? So we try to bring in people who can create an audience for the contest as well and create a lot of interest. And also, you don't want boring personalities. I don't want somebody sitting there just droning on about the numbers on a game. Well, I took this because it was the best number, I've had somebody like that, a couple people like that in the contest in the past. You got to be somewhat entertaining in the way you present your information and your plays. But, it's also, like I said before, I want people with credibility and integrity, people who I know who are not going to embarrass the contest or Circa. So when I talked to Derek Stevens, the owner at Circa Resort and Casino, you've been there many times. Derek's a highly respected guy. Got a lot of integrity. Bill 80, our COO at VSiN. We talked about this. We don't want anyone in the contest who's going to do something to potentially embarrass the three of us, right? You also want people who are reliable, who are going to turn their picks in every week. We can't have people ghosting weeks or not showing up for the show or not putting their picks in. So there's a lot of things you're looking for aside from a social media following and credibility, but there's a lot of things that come into it. Hundreds of potential contestants interested. And you've been in the top 5, Scotty P, the last 2 years pretty consistently. You've camped out in the top 5. You've done a great job bringing, I think, a respect to the contest as well. We can't have everybody in the contest having subpar years. You got to have winners in there too. You got to be giving out winners. So you've done a great job giving out winners the last 2 years. The great part about this contest too, and what I changed from the Stardust Invitational, I talked to Derek Stevens at Megabar one night, and I presented the idea to him 2.5 years ago about this contest over the summer. And Derek loves the survivor element of things. I said, okay, how about, with 16 contestants, after 9 weeks, we cut the last place contestant each week, and then cut again until you get to the Elite 8. Because nobody in the contest wants to be the first one cut.
Right.
Everybody wants to win, but nobody wants to be the first one cut.
Right.
And I know everybody thinks the same way about that because almost every contestant's made that comment to me at one point. I just don't want to finish last.
Right.
So I think it's an entertaining contest. And you know what? We opened it up to VSiN subscribers this year, an Average Joe contest. So we want to have an Average Joe contestant competing against the pros. We had over, I think, 200 applications for the Average Joe contest. We ended up with 158 entrants. We have one who's 7-0 on his best bets right now. And I think, I want to say roughly 70 of the contestants are over 500. A lot of the guys in the Average Joe contest are kicking butt against some of the pros in the Friday night contest. But, hey, it's all for entertainment and sharing information, and I think it's a great thing. It's been a great thing for VSiN, hopefully for the audience the last few years.
Matt Youmans, celebrity TV host, VSiN, my guest this week on Let's Bet. To his point regarding the Circa Invitational, just to refresh your memory, it's 25 of the world's best going head-to-head. Derek Stevens, kind enough to offer cash to the top 3 and the prestigious first place green jacket. It's 7 games, college and pro, sides, totals. The challenge in this contest and what makes it so darn tough is I'm betting early, mostly, but I also bet late. But I'm never betting Friday between noon and 5, which is when the lines come out. You have to use Circa lines. Circa is very, very sharp. And so you're not getting stale numbers. You're not getting weak numbers. You're not getting soft numbers, which I make a living betting into soft numbers, if you will. But everyone has to play by the same rules. And, of course, Steve Fezzik, who is the only 2-time back-to-back winner of the Superbook contest. First year he was in it, his words, not mine, but the standings speak for themselves. He was 15th out of 16th, and he said it's obviously very, very challenging, but he's back in it this year, world-class and kicking ass. But your thoughts on how tough this contest is?
Well, that's the thing. There's no perfect way to set up a contest, right? I know a lot of guys will like to submit plays throughout the week at the number they want to choose. Friday afternoons from noon to 5, you have a 5-hour window. We lock in the lines at noon. Everybody's got to pick from the same lines. I think there's enough options on the board, NFL and college football, sides and totals, that it's not difficult to come up with 7 plays. And I realize that it's difficult on Friday afternoons, especially with the sharp book. But, hey, the rules are the same for all the contestants, right? Well, like I said, we got a bunch of people who play by the same rules in the Average Joe contest who are kicking butt right now, too. So I told one of the contestants who I know likes to feast on soft numbers or, weak numbers throughout the week, too, and he makes his living betting that way. I said, look, he wanted to be in the contest. I said, you could be in the contest, but I don't want to hear you complain or make excuses about how tough it is to play the Circa lines on Friday afternoon, because the rules are the same for everybody, right?
I love it.
It's we would all prefer to bet a bad number on the Westgate Super Contest card on Friday, lay 1.5 when the actual market number is 3.5, right? But that's not the way it really works in contests like this. And look, when the audience is following a contest like this, they don't want to see stale numbers on all the plays. And, I feel like this is a test, true handicapping test, because you got the entire football board to work with. Like I said, sides and totals, college and pro. You got to be able to come up with 7 plays. It's not that difficult. And you're going against one of the sharpest books in the world. It's a challenge. It's an intellectual challenge. And I know last week on your show you asked Bill Krakenberger what he enjoys most about sports betting. And, he was talking about the rush, which was a great answer. To me, it's one of the greatest intellectual challenges you're ever going to face, trying to beat the odds maker, beat the books on a daily basis, and all the mental tools you need in your box to be able to win, succeed and win at this. It's extremely difficult. It's And, when you succeed, you feel good about it because it's such a, tough intellectual challenge.
Well, I love the parameters of the contest, the rules that you folks have come up with, because to your point, you mentioned the sharpest book, the sharpest odds, and then 25 of the sharpest people competing. I also love the fact that and again, it's great with a capital G for the viewers, because the viewers are tuning in to get maybe some inside information. They don't want to lay 3 knowing that the line is 5. Mm-hmm. So you can follow these plays, and long term you should win as long as you're tuning in. And I like what Brent Musburger said last year. He called the Friday Night Your Show the sharpest hour in sports betting. And I just thought that was super, super cool. Now, the thing that I like is the best bet. You get a little bit of a bump. Last year on the best bets versus the number, I was fortunate to go 13-4, and you get the tiebreaker. Yeah. That's the good news. The bad news is I took third place, half game out of second, and Tony Gordon, Derbify, who's going to be on this show next week, he won the Circa Millions a few short years ago. Mm-hmm. It didn't come into play, but this year I like this concept, and I had nothing to do with it, but I was happy to see it, that you get a 1.5 with the best bet. And good news for me, 6-1 out of seven weeks of action.
Yeah, you've done a great job with the best bets. The first 2 years, Chris the Bear Felica, who was with ESPN, now with Fox Sports, he won our inaugural contest in 2022. He had the top best bet record the first 2 years. I'm going to just throw out roughly something like 25-10. It was, I think maybe even a little bit better than that. You and Kelly Stewart have the top best bet records this season. And I do think the best bet should be worth a little bit more, because how many times do you run into somebody, and you kind of made a reference to this earlier, and they say, what's your best bet this weekend?
Right.
What's the one game I can really count on, or what's the one game I should fire on? Typically, they want more than one best bet from you. They want, hey, give me your 3 favorite games this weekend. But a lot of times people go, what's your best bet? That one's worth a little bit more, and it should be worth a little bit more. So the first year I set up the contest, I consulted with a few of the pros who are going to be in it. Should we make the best bet worth 1.5 instead of 1 point for a win? No, don't do that. That's not the way people bet. I don't know. I reconsidered, because I think the best bet needs to be worth a little bit more. But you know what? That first year, the best bet served as the tiebreaker for first, second, and third place. So it didn't matter the first year.
How about that?
The second year, it really didn't matter. And that's the second year I said, you know what? We got to make these best bets worth a little bit more.
Love it. Talking to Matt Youmans, VSiN celebrity TV host, 4 hours a day. But man, you used to do 6, 7, 8 hours a day back in the old days, my friend.
They talk about ESPN when it first started, and it was Chris Berman and a few other guys, and it was kind of almost like they had a band set up at a high school TV station. VSiN, the first couple years, Jonathan Von Tobel, JVT, and I did a lot of shows on Saturdays and Sundays. We go from 11 a.m. to 5 or 6 p.m. or 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. We did 6 or 7 hour shows. And then we come back Monday through Friday and do noon to 3 every day. A typical 3 hour show. So there's a lot of hours we had to put in on the air, a lot of research you have to do to be able to talk about games and talk about them knowledgeably, for that many hours. A lot of people can talk and try to BS their way through stuff, but eventually, if you're on the air that many hours, they're going to see through your BS, right? So you have to know what you're talking about, and you have to do a lot of research. You have to put your work into it. One thing about the sports betting media now, and I know you see this and you've probably seen it in the handicapping industry, the tout business over the years. There are guys you can tell who put in the work and do it and do their own work, and there are guys who fly by the seat of their pants and cheat, kind of copy plays off other handicappers and just sell. And if you watch TV shows or radio shows, you can tell who knows what they're talking about, who's putting in the work, or who are the phonies just showing up to talk and doing no research, just showing up when the show starts and the lights come on.
Before we get to our best bets in 60 seconds or less, I know I hate to say 60 seconds or less because I feel we could talk for the next 7 or 8 hours, but in 60 seconds or less, if you could talk to me about because you've interviewed the best of the best when it comes to Circa Survivor winners and the Circa Millions winners, what separates the pretenders from the contenders?
Oh, boy, that's a good question, too, because I've found over the years there's some guys who can't talk about their games and sound really sharp, but they have great instincts for picking winners. And there are other guys who can talk for 15 minutes about a game and put you on the dead wrong side. You know what I mean?
Sure, yeah.
I think I'm going to say the guys who jump out to me as the best are the ones who kind of do it like you do it, with personality and with information. Like I said, you have to entertain and inform, but when you inform, you have to make your 2 or 3 most important points about a game and then get out. Don't blabber on and on and on and make the same point 2 or 3 times. If you listen to Charles Barkley on NBA on TNT, he'll make a point, then he'll make the same point again, and then he'll say the same thing a third time, right? Just make your most important point Make your 3 most important points about a game, maybe mix in some humor in your analysis, and those are the people who are the best guests.
Interesting. I like that because, I mean, respectfully, no one wants a book report, even though the content may be rock solid.
Right.
If you're putting your audience to sleep, it's kind of a moot point. We're talking to Matt Youmans, VSiN host, Circa Invitational, 5 nights a week, expert sports bettor, well-respected in the field. We're going to come back with our best bets, but first, this commercial break.
Had a great time today with Scott Pritchard. Really enjoyed it. We talked a lot about sports betting. We also talked the fundamentals of sports betting, not just giving a pick. So join us every week. Let's bet. Did I do that wrong?
The crack man from a week ago, 5-star. Love the guy. He was awesome. He was great. And his best bet last week, Seattle +3, readily available. They not only didn't need the points, they won straight up by 20 against the Atlanta Falcons. My best bet last week, well, we can move on. We don't have to talk about that, but we will because I'm very transparent. You're going to hear from me when I win, and you're going to hear from me when I lose. Very transparent. 4 wins, 2 losses in the last 6 weeks when I started giving out the best bets on this show. I was on the JETS, Jets, -1. Are you kidding me? Top 5 defense. I don't want to recap it. If you saw a bad movie, would you want to go back and see it again? Well, I don't want to talk about the 1 loss. I'd rather talk about the 4 winners out of the last 6. I've got 1 play, 1 time, but first things first. Matt, your best bets, who do you like and why?
By the way, I started the season talking about the Jets and their top 5 defense, not a top 5 defense. You know, the front 7 is just getting pushed around, getting manhandled and pushed around. And you can run the ball right at this Jets defense. That's been a big problem. You know, and the Steelers did that last Sunday night. How about if I give you 1 NFL play, 1 college play, and 1 NFL teaser?
I love it.
How about Jets -1 with Chargers -1?
Is this deja vu all over again?
Yep, it is.
I want to hear that again.
Is this deja vu all over again? Jets -1 and Chargers -1 on a 2-team teaser. Now, I actually played this on a 3-teamer, and I put the Cardinals +7.5 with it on Monday night. In the doubleheader, I like 3-teamers, but in this case, I think this is a really good 2-teamer. Jets have to play with a lot of urgency. They have to have this game on Sunday, and you're playing pretty much a dead Patriots team on the road. I think you're going to see the Jets play with a lot of fire. I don't want to lay the 7, though. I'll lay 1 on a teaser with the Chargers, who got to bounce back from that loss Monday night, and they're playing a Saints team with a quarterback who doesn't belong in the NFL right now and a bunch of injuries. So I think that Jets-Chargers teaser is a really good one. One side in the NFL, I'm going to give you the Seahawks. I'm going to take a page out of Crackman's book from last week. Seahawks +3, and I know DK Metcalf being out is a bit of a problem for the Seahawks offense. But if you look at the Buffalo Bills, they've run up big yards on bad defenses and pretty much weak opponents. And when they've been on the road in Baltimore, when they went on the road to Houston, Josh Allen didn't play so well for the most part. I think this road trip to Seattle is going to be an eye-opener here for the Bills because they're going to play a real defense, a team with real home field advantage, and I think the Seahawks run hot and cold are going to run hot again this week. I was on them with Crackman last week at Atlanta. I'm going to stick with the Seahawks here as a home dog +3. I've got probably 15 plays in college football this week, but I'm going to give you the last play on the board Saturday night. We're going to go Hawaii -1.5 against Nevada. And I played this early in the week. I was waiting for the +3 to show up. Nevada was a 2.5-point favorite. Never got to 3. I ended up betting Hawaii +2 here, but I still like it 1.5. I think Hawaii's going to win this game. Brendan Lewis, dual-threat quarterback for Nevada, is going to be out. Suffered a head injury, left the game against Fresno State last week. Chuba Purdy, Brock Purdy's younger brother. He's no Brock Purdy. It's going to be a big drop-off of quarterback. The Hawaii run defense has really improved. 2 weeks ago, Boise went to Honolulu and was in a 13-7 game against Hawaii early in the fourth quarter. I'm seeing enough improvement in this Hawaii team that I thought initially this week, I hate to use this phrase, but I thought the wrong team was favored when Nevada was a 2.5-point favorite, so I like Hawaii late Saturday night.
There you have it, Matt Youmans' best bets for the weekend. As I wrap up the show, I've got 1 play, 1 time. It's not how many you play, it's how many you win. College football, Wake Forest taking on Stanford under 53.5. Would like to steal a 54, but before coming to the studio, I saw 53.5, 53. Under 53.5 is the play. If it falls 54, I'm going to be pissed. All right, Matt, in wrapping things up, how can people find you?
VSIN.com. That's a great place to go. We have plenty of handicap. We have lots of quality handicapping content up on the website, and you can see all the plays from handicappers like yourself in the Circa Friday Football Invitational up there at VSiN.com.
Matt Youmans, our guest on Let's Bet this week. That's going to wrap it up for this edition of Let's Bet. Friendly reminder, the discount code is Morant, M-O-R-A-N-T, as in Ja Morant and the Memphis Grizzlies, who are going to surprise this year. For Matt Youmans, I'm Scott Pritchard. To reach out to us, email us at letsbet@pritchardspicks.com. That's letsbet@pritchardspicks.com. Next week, our guest, Tony Gordon, Derbify. He won the Circa Millions a few short years ago, and he beat my tail in the Circa Invitational. The Mad Russian took first last year. Tony Gordon took second, and he's going to be our guest next week, right here, same time, 1 to 1:30 Las Vegas time. For Matt Youmans, I'm Scott Pritchard. Until next week, see the cashier.